Hello YouTube, welcome to this 14th video on the Land Rover Discovery 2's V8 engine rebuild series. The first of the diagnosis videos, trying to figure out what the newest problem is. At this point, I'd spent all that time, you've seen the videos up to this point, rebuilding the engine. I mean, it's been months and months and a lot of money, so you can imagine I was pretty disappointed to hear this engine still making some noise. So unfortunately, the amount of video content I was gathering at this point diminished, and you'll see this video over video. The first one's pretty normal, there's quite a lot in there. But the subsequent videos, I've done various different things to the engine to try and stop it. In fact, three main things. The video content diminishes, but I do have a few photographs, so you know, the same stuff will be there, but it just won't be videos. So anyway, today's video is pretty normal. So in this video, I go through my thoughts on, well, one of my thoughts on what the problem is. I'm basically trying to figure out, is it something I've done, something inherently wrong with the engine which I've missed, or faulty parts or something like that, you know. And yeah, you'll see where I go with that in this video. There's more ideas in subsequent videos of what could be making this noise. So in this video I'm going to be changing the shims under the rocker posts. I'm also going to test the oil pressure, because it's obviously a pretty good idea to check oil pressure when you've got a noise from an engine. And then while I've got that switch removed, I pull the thread out of the oil pressure switch, so I fix that thread as well. And then yeah, hidden in this video is a clue to the actual problem, and I didn't spot it at this point, but there's a clue to the real problem that is occurring, and if you can spot it, that'd be amazing. Put it in the comments, and if you get it right, I'll let you know. Anyway, so on with the content. This is my thoughts after having run the engine again, basically. Unfortunately, try as I might, the first run hasn't really gone very well, so there's a slight top end rattling now. It's on both sides of the engine. It's definitely top end, it's definitely tappets. So I think it's something I've done wrong with the what's it called? Tappet preload. Yeah, the shims under the rocker posts. I can get the rocker covers off this engine without draining any oil or coolant, so I'm going to do that now. Take a 10 thou of shim out, leaving me 45 thou instead of the 55 thou that's in there now, and basically start it again and see if I can get anywhere with that. In other news, I did double check the oil pressure on the advice of my good friend Tom.
It's generating some fantastic pressure.
It's making great oil pressure, but the thread, which was already a bit weak for the way the oil pressure switch goes, has finally given up. So
I'm going with an M13 by 1.5 mil thread instead of M12 that's in there.
Part, and then it should be good. Very complicated and a right old pain in the arse, but hopefully that'll sort that. So I can't do the oil thing now, but what I can do is get both rocker covers off, inlet manifold, rocker covers, and then take a shim out. So I'm going to get on with that work now. Comes the throttle body, air conditioning pump, LPG injectors and plenum. So at this point I thought, well, here, I'll just set up a camera and crank the engine over, watch those rockers, and just see there's nothing daft happening. There he goes. So that's it. Now I loosen off the rockers on each side of the engine, remove a shim one at a time, put the bolt back in, and then tighten all of that down, and then I got onto the other side, did the same thing, and then back on goes the plenum, throttle body, LPG injectors and so on. That's it, it's all done. It took an hour and 35. I hope you enjoyed the time lapse. So I'll just switch the camera around. Yeah, I've taken the shims out, 10,000 shims on both sides, put it all back together. I'm happy with that. Obviously there's a gaping hole here where the alternator goes. There's the alternator and belt tensioner and another idler. And yeah, I've still yet to fix this problem. This is the oil pressure sender hole, and that thread is toast. So I'm leaving this out of the way, including the LPG feed pipe you can see dangling over the wing there, and something else here, the throttle cable. That's that for now. I'm just waiting on a few parts, and then I can get and fix that, and then put this last corner of the engine together, and off we go. Hopefully, off we go. I have all the bits now. This is the M12 oil pressure switch. It's waggling around in the hole because the thread is very worn and pulled out. So I've got a replacement here. It's off a Triumph motorcycle, I think. It's a similar thing, but it's got an 8th MPT thread on the end of it.
It runs at 8 psi, I think this one's 5, so very similar, very low oil pressures. On top of that I've got an elbow because it's quite long and it's going to hit the alternator support, so that brings it down. Also a 1/8 MPT thread there. And then here I've got a sump plug repair kit which has 13mm, so M12 up to M13, so you cut the new thread in there. So I'm going to drill a hole in that and put the 1/8 MPT thread into that. So I've still got oil pressure to the switch. I'll change the connector obviously to suit. So now I'm in the process of tapping the thread. It's in the car, it's in situ, you've got to be very careful. So there's the engine, look. Got the alternator removed and the bracket. So the M13 by 1.5 tap is in there. I'm using a spanner. And I've covered it in grease, and I'll just pause the video, cut some more thread, and I'll show you how the grease is catching the swarf, which is very convenient. So I've done another 1.5 to 2 turns on this tap. Hopefully you can see, there we go, yeah, the swarf, look at that, it's perfect. The grease has caught all the swarf. I say all of it, I hope it's all of it. So what I can do now is use a cotton bud to pull the grease out of the hole again. So I'm doing this every couple of turns, trying to pull everything I can back out. And I'll show you the result of that. So here's the cotton buds, don't tell the missus. Try and put it right down the middle so as not to push anything else in, and then wipe it around. Yeah, there are a few small particles in there. There you can see them on the end there. Not much though. The majority of it is definitely with the tap. Alrighty, the engine's repaired. I've drilled an 8.5mm hole through this repair sump plug, which is close to the 8.7 required for the 1/8 MPT thread tap. So now I'm going to cut that thread in there. At that point I basically stopped videoing progress, so here I've got a photograph of the arrangement in the engine. You can see it's like a huge 8th NPT thread. So that's the sump repair plug, the thing you'd normally use to repair a sump, and I've drilled a hole in it, threaded it for this 1/8 MPT, and then the Triumph Bonneville pressure sensor is in there. And you can see here, this is the alternator bracket, that if I went straight in with the Triumph Bonneville oil pressure switch into there, it would just about foul on the back of there, especially with this electrical connector on the back. So I decided to put the elbow in to sort of make it clear that lot, and it seems to have worked pretty well. I haven't actually been able to see this other than the photograph, because you can't actually look down there. I was just holding the camera down in the hole. This is the next time I started the engine. It's just a tiny clip, and you will hear, unfortunately, nothing has changed. It's still making the flipping noise. Here you go, have a listen. At this point I was still transfixed with it being the shims. I got brand new tappets in there, new rocker shafts. I checked a lot of stuff. It's definitely valve gear. At this point I thought it was definitely to do with the top end of the engine. So I did some more. I put more shims in or less shims in, but you'll see. Let's say this is the next time. I did it this lots. Let's say I took some more shims out, so I lowered those rockers further into the tappet to travel. Here we go. Right, I'm getting quicker. This was the second time I videoed it. Off with the inlet plenum. Off with the rocker cover, adjust the shims, and then do the other side, and then back on with the plenum, and away we go. Now, although this is actually the same clip of video, the engine noise didn't change, so here you go. It didn't work. So at this point, I forget exactly. I did this a lot of times, more than this video lets on, but I took all the shims out, I over-shimmed it, I under-shimmed it, I did everything. Here we go again. Here we go again, off with the plenum. Adjust the rocker shims. Back on with the plenum. I was, of course, getting pretty quick at doing it now. As you can see, the time lapses have got very much shorter. And then here we go. This is the result of all that hard work. I did this more times than this video shows, but this was the end result. So as you can see, folks, massive disappointment again. It was not the rocker shimming that was the issue. That was the conclusion from this set of work I did. As I say, if you have spotted the clue in this video, I only spotted it myself recently. That if I'd spotted it at the time, it would have saved me a lot of effort. But there is a clue in this video to what is actually wrong with this. So tune in next time for my next attempt to fix the problem, and we'll see how I get on with that. Thanks very much for watching this far. Hope you're enjoying the series.